We're back. Episode 5. This one's going to be probably a little bit long. It's called The Process, and we're going to walk you through kind of where we started, where we're at, and hopefully where we're going.
And I think you could take things away from this, right? It's not just about Blockchain of Fame. Sometimes it's also you might be wanting to launch your own NFT collection, and so I know no one explained anything to us. It was all research, right? Research.
Do your own research. Or just have Mike do all the research.
Yeah. So, I guess, we left off pretty much with, we were finally finding someone to do the project. Yeah. We were thinking of the components. We need a website. Yeah. We need art.
Yeah.
We need
just let me backtrack
quick,
right? Mike. Sure. I think what's important to discuss briefly also is the shift in the paradigm of NFTs, right? So you have NFTs starting out and just being like a JPEG that people want to buy, but then all of a sudden now this JPEG becomes, your access into X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there and it's like, well, we missed the boat on just making a cool graphic of, whatever, an ape, right?
Sure.
And now we're like, well, what can we do that makes this cool still? And that's where we came up with the customization of adding your own name to it, and then what that would equate to down the road, right? Yeah. So if you go through our process, I guess you have to have a catchy idea, name, right? Like Blockchain of Fame sounds super cool. It's something that's stuck with both of us. Then you have to, if you can't, make art, you have to find somebody to make art. And one thing, if you're watching this, maybe you do know, but in education, we're both in education, right? There's no question that's too stupid to ask, right?
That's
so
right.
You have to understand that NFTs, a lot of the projects are just layered images that are randomly generated. Right. And so a big portion, that we did was really just trying to find the right traits.
That's right. And understanding the layer process, right? That in itself, it's an algorithm. It's a script. It's something someone writes that says, you're going to put all these layers. So even when speaking, we luckily found an artist that had done avatars. Yeah. And it was okay, they had to make 1,000 random avatars with different traits like face, nose, mustache, all that kind of stuff. So it was okay, similar idea. So I kept saying, when you do this, is that going to be a layer? Is that going to, how is it going to lay? And that's you don't know. You don't know what you're doing until you ask a bunch of questions. And, luckily we also had a patient artist who was because we were all over the place at some point.
And we went from star, right? We were going to do a star because there was going to be this connection, right, to the Walk of Fame in Hollywood and the United States. And then we realized that that's just not feasible. And we were going to do another episode on this, but I think we should just get it out of the way now. We did look into licensing for the Walk of Fame because it would be a similar concept. And I emailed somebody and they were like, it's $20,000. And I gave them the most ambiguous specs for the project because I was like, I don't want them to steal the idea. They have all this money from licensing.
Yeah, of course.
And, we were even conflicted about messaging them. And that was almost another stop.
Yeah, that was another stop. And also, but the problem was that even the images and the ideas we had wasn't really connecting to crypto, metaverse. Yeah. What does it mean if I'm in this virtual Hall of Fame? I mean, because right, there's a Hall of Fame for a million things. Yeah. Football, baseball, rock and roll, music, art. I mean, you name it, right? So this is all right, well, this is another version, but how does it NFT driven? I think that was the big one. What do the images look like?
And then that brought us to our next iteration, which was a cube. Yeah, like a blockchain. That's right? Yeah. And that was kind of cool. And then we just couldn't get the art right. I kept saying the cube looks wrong. The cube looks wrong. It's not right. It's not if I draw a cube in 3D, this is how it looks. And I draw a second grader or whatever. Yeah, for sure. And we have a professional artist and I'm no, it's still wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't
and then we went back to the star and then we went back to the cube and then finally Mike he just clicked and he's like, why don't we do a coin?
A circle token coin,
And even in then, I was like, whoa, why don't we make it 3D and make it a hologram and it pops the name up and all this cool stuff that is just no. Just, no, keep it simple. And then we went into the coin and all of the layers like we just discussed. Like,
but, yeah, and Chris put a lot of like Chris had said, like this is the point where I was like kind of pulling a lot of weight with it.
Yeah.
But like very much trust like because I'm making this decision. Like is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Or listen, this is my quick feedback. So everything was fast feedback, right?
Yeah.
Like this is our project. It's not our entire life, right? It's something that we're doing. And so, as a side project, we had to make fast decisions.
Yeah.
You're on a timeline.
Yeah.
And
you're messing with other people's timelines too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're paying this artist like a set fee, and like, dude, can you do this revision? How does this look? And then Mike would just be like, we gotta not blow money, so I'm good. He has graphic design knowledge, so he would just make some mock-ups, and we started to like it. We started to say, okay, the art
and that's when it fell in place. That's when it's like, wait, this really embodies the the blockchain,
symbolism
sort of
was right.
Symbolism,
The art started connecting, and then one of the big things, and I know like art has hijacked this entire episode, but it's fine because we want you to really know the process, even if we have to go a little bit long. Mike was just like looking down at your own like physical self. And then he wanted to put like sneakers in, right? And it was like such a cool thing. But I was like, I don't know. It's not really clicking for me. And then everybody else we showed were like, I love those sneakers. And then I felt like a dick, excuse my language. Because I'm the one like, no, don't, it doesn't make sense. Why would you look down like at your own feet? And, but it turned out like, now I'm like, wow, I wish we maybe would have put more of those.
Yeah, because it looks really good. Yeah, a little shout out to, like we would ask family members, my wife was like, oh, well, maybe what if like, you're kind of like you're inducting yourself, right? You're becoming part of this, so maybe that's really cool. And so feedback from crowdsourcing definitely got thumbs up on that. And then but then when the art started to fall into place, but I got to talk about that, like the process is not that easy working with people who don't this is like the pandemic really turned everything into a remote world, and this has like been unbelievably remote work because our artist is in Argentina. Our developer is in India. There's a time difference, and that time difference is at 2 a.m. On phone calls, trying to come up with like, we'll talk about smart contract a little bit more and stuff like that. So that was like a big undertaking, but when the art fell in place, then we were like, oh, we're good there. We're 50% there. Once we get the tweaks, they're actually going to be able to finish that part. And then I think the big hiccup that I learned, that I think you were was the developer was like, you can do both at the same time. And I was like, well, we need to get the art first before we can start this. And it was like, well, no, because they both take time. But once we did the art direction, then we were able to like actually probably cut our time in half because we started to do both at the same time.
And it was one of those things that had to be right. Like as much as we picked at it ourselves, like we would have, it takes me an hour to get home in traffic. We would have hour-long conversations almost every day, like back and forth.
Probably for 2 weeks straight.
And just frustrating concepts, not clicking, like because when you're passionate about something, things usually just fall into place. But for some reason we could not get it, and we knew we couldn't get it, but we didn't give up. We kept going, and then we found Gaurav. Great, because Meyer wasn't working out. Mike found Gaurav, and he just was like, I'm gonna do this with you guys, and he really felt like part of the team, like family, like he got it.
He had done a few other projects, which was very helpful. He's like, no, I totally understand. Here's a project I did. They're minting, launching XYZ. And so we were like, okay, but 10, 11 hour time difference, not that easy to pull off. It was rough.
And also, not that easy to pull off is, okay, we're gonna put your name on this thing. Is it a one-off? And that's it. You get one of these, and it says, like Chris on it. And if I want to go on OpenSea and resell it, I have to find another Chris. Exactly.
That would be
which
silly.
Sucks, right? Especially if I put my last name. Like that's there's not too many people out there with the same names as Mike or I. And then it's like, okay, well now we don't want to do that. That wasn't our original vision. Our original vision was, okay, you can change it when you sell it, and that became just, we think we can do it, and then we weren't sure, and then should we stop because we can't do it? and that all tied into like pricing the NFT and what's the time frame, when are we launching, and oh yeah, by the way, we also need an interface like a landing page.
That's right. And then that was, you also, we were being steered in different directions, right? Because you would talk to one developer that has done from start to finish, front end to back end, I can do the whole project. Then there were some, well, give me the art, I'll make the smart contract, but then I need a front end. So like you need to give me front end design, like the UX UI stuff, right? So then like, well, you really should just get a UX UI person. Like, okay, so well, that's another cost. But so we ideally found a front end. I have a team that helps with the website. I do the smart contract. You do need to deliver the art for me, which we knew, right? We had an artist already working and finishing up the art, right? At that point, we even said, I think I remember saying, I'm like, if it doesn't work out, at least we have good art. Like we have some art that, I don't know what we'll do with it, but
I'll thumb through it. We'll print it out, put it in like a photo album.
I would say, there's a ton of awesome art NFT projects, right? I mean, for sure. Like all of them are really good. I mean, I've seen like, I don't know, there was like one I came across, it was like Meteor. Like there's just like a really, really cool looking projects. So, but I think our art is really cool too, because it definitely captures like kind of like iconic crypto sort of symbolism and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of, it's not extremely varying with traits. It's not like 250 traits. It's not going to be like that, but it's going to be different each one for sure, but it's going to capture kind of like, sort of a crypto personality, which I think was like really cool.
Yeah, so to recap, our process really so far is have a kick-ass idea, find an artist if you can't do it yourself.
For sure.
Find somebody who can make you a web page that, they have, like, it's specific to NFTs. It's called landing page.
Yeah.
And it's just like a one-page kind of thing.
It might have 4 or 5 different sections, but it's a landing page.
It's not crazy. And then find somebody who could make your smart contract. And, like, now we're cooking. We're good.
That's right.
We're like, okay, but you got to realize, like, this stuff is not cheap. And we're just two working class guys, with families trying to provide for them and take whatever little scraps we have and throw it into this project. And now we're like, oh, cool, okay, we got all this, but we really don't have much for advertising. And there's so many hidden costs that you don't even understand.
And we'll get to that, for sure.
But so now, like, we're at the point where we're trying to promote this as cheap and free as we can.
Yeah.
And we're, like, really, if we're being transparent, we're struggling to get off the ground. And, I thought Mike worked hard trying to bring the idea to life, but I constantly see him posting on socials and connecting with people and promoting other projects. And we have our Discord and we hop in there and try to get people,
hyped up.
Exactly.
I'm working on hyped up. I love doing video editing. So like I create some really like fun video, you'll see it on our Twitter, right? Like check it out. And it's, that's our state now. Like that's our new challenge. But every step we kind of were like, oh my God, how am I going to get past this part?
Yeah.
And we got past it. Yeah. And then, we're at some point we're going to launch soon. And so we're trying to figure that next step out too. And part of it was making this real. I think that's kind of where this stemmed from, the videos together too.
And like, this is really the scariest part because
for sure.
Right now it's like the money doesn't seem real. Like, yeah, you put it into the project, but you've birthed something, you've made something.
Sure.
You've brought an idea from your mind to a physical space. And then you're like, that's really cool. And then you're like, wow, there's so many other NFTs.
That's
and
right.
There's so many projects with huge budgets. There's so many projects with connections. And we just don't have that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean our project sucks. It just means like we have to come up with other ways. And that's why we're doing like this docuseries, whatever little money we have, giveaways and, promoting our Discord, our Twitter, our Instagram, our TikTok, going on Fiverr, going to, people that I work with. Hey, does your boyfriend has Instagram, right? Can he promote for it? And people just saying like, yeah, we'll help you out because, we want you to succeed. And that's so refreshing. And we're so grateful for all the people we've interacted with. But, it's really just a crazy experience.
Yeah, and I think the saturation of the market is hard, right? It's like little fish in the big sea kind of thing. Yep. But Chris is right. Like concept-wise, art-wise, I mean, we're up there with a lot of other awesome projects, right? And Chris has been invested more into NFTs than I have. Like,
and let me
actual
tell you,
purchasing.
you know, just, and I don't want to go off on too many tangents because you've probably been sitting through a 15-minute video, so thanks if you're still with us. I've just invested in so many friggin' rug pulls, and I'm just like, dude, this sucks. Like, I've lost like thousands of dollars that, you know, could have been used for our project. And because I trusted the developers, I like, you know, I did my own research. And out of nowhere, you're just like left holding the bag.
And these are Discord communities that have thousands of members, right?
Tens of thousands. They got the blue check mark on OpenSea. They check all the boxes. And we just don't want to be that.
Yeah.
You know, if we mint one or we mint all 5,000, we're going to be proud of the outcome.
Yeah,
you know, and
exactly.
Like we're like, well, what if this doesn't happen? And at the end of the day, it's going to be a success because we made it to mint.
We actually made it.
But yeah, you know, don't get us wrong. We want to be successful and we want to share our idea with the world. So, you know, that's where you come in. And thanks so much for being with us for this video. I know it's been a long. I think Mike just checked the camera that he has enough space on his phone.
That's right. That's right.
But you know, like I said, Twitter, Instagram. Not Facebook. We don't do that. We do Meta.
No, Discord.
Meta, right?
Discord, yeah.
Discord. You know,
and
like
the,
Twitter,
website,
and you know. So just hit us up on there. We're cool dudes. We'll chat with you. We'll explain
below,
anything with the project. If you need help with your thing and we have time, we're in.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, guys.